Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today I thought it would be a great idea to show you guys how my all-time favorite foundation wears for a wear test. So I always have mentioned that my favorite foundation is the L'Oreal Infallible Freshwear foundation. It has been for over 2 years now, and I try many different foundations all the time, and I always come back to this one and love this one the most. So I have never actually done a dedicated video on this foundation before, and I was thinking I should because, like I said, I do several foundation wear tests first impressions and I review foundations on my channel, so it is definitely necessary for you to see kind of what I'm comparing it to and why I love this foundation so much. I'm going to be showing you the application part, how I apply the foundation, and I also show you a clip that's fast forwarded showing you me applying the rest of the stuff on top of that foundation so you can see, and what powders I use and what brushes I use with those powders and all of that kind of stuff. And then I'm also going to be doing a 12-hour wear test. I'm going to be really putting this to the test so you can see why I like this foundation so much, why I compare so many different foundations to this foundation, kind of showing you what my standards are, and just showing you what is so special about this foundation. That's pretty much what we're doing today. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the application portion. So before I go in with my favorite foundation, I do put on a primer, and today I'm going to be using the Hard Candy Smoothing Primer Balm. I've really been enjoying this. I actually initially bought it to test out for a dupes video that's coming up, and it will be included in that. You will find out what I'm going to be duping in that video, but I do take this like I take my e.l.f. putty primer, which I love as well, if you did not know that. If you've been here for any length of time, you know that I love the e.l.f. poreless putty primer. I just take this in my T-zone and just kind of like make sure I'm hitting all the areas where my pores are the most prominent, which really is all through here. It's so great. And I do let this sit for at least a minute before I go in with foundation. I don't really know if it does anything. I think it's just more of like a placebo effect for me. Like I think it's doing something like setting down. So I'm gonna let this sit and then we're gonna jump into the foundation. So while I let my primer set in, I went ahead and put the Freshwear foundation onto my candle lid. It's what I use for my palette. If you didn't know that, I use the shade 420. Typically that's like my fair shade. It does look a little yellow when you initially put it on camera. It doesn't in person. So just keep that in mind when I'm putting this on. It's a pretty good match. It's a little off, but you know, I don't know any foundation that matches me perfectly, I have to be honest. And I always match it to my arm and not my face because my face is a decent bit lighter than my arms and I want my whole body to match. And if I go with a foundation shade that's too light, it makes me look sick. But anyway, what I do is I take it on my Tati Beauty Blendiful and I just jump right in. I always start on the right side of my face for some reason. And I just like press it in. And as you can see with that first light layer, I have like a kind of light to light medium coverage. I do go in with a couple of layers on my cheeks typically, unless I'm having a really good skin day where my acne scars kind of didn't come out to play. They did come out to play today, so I will be going in with at least a light second layer on my cheeks. But I just kind of make sure that I am blending this really well into the nooks and crannies. I had Thomas convinced the other day that I came up with the nooks and crannies thing for like English muffins. And I was like, no, I really didn't, I swear. And he's like, yeah, you did. And I'm like, no, like it says it on the package. That was a really uninteresting story. So this foundation does last really well no matter what powder I use over it. But I will show you the powder that I have really been loving with this foundation a lot, that has made it stay perfectly in place for long periods of time, like up to 16 hours. I don't typically wear my foundation that long, but I have tested it. I wore this foundation to what was going to be a Garth Brooks concert. It really was a Garth Brooks concert, except for it got rained out and then they said they were gonna postpone it and then they just canceled it. So it was supposed to be Thomas's anniversary gift. It was gonna be like a huge surprise. I was vlogging it And that vlog footage is going in the garbage can because there's nothing I can do with it now. Like, that wouldn't be a very interesting video. Like, look at how I surprised my husband for something that didn't happen. So this is the first layer. Honestly, I would be fine wearing this out like a light layer. I love this foundation for that reason. It's really customizable on the coverage. So I really do like it for that. If you don't have a lot to cover and you don't really like to cake on a lot of makeup, this is a great foundation for that. If you do have a decent amount to cover, this will also cover it. So it's really great all the way around. But I am gonna do a little bit more on the cheeks. Not too much. I just got a little bit on my Blendiful and I'm just kind of concentrating it on my right cheek and my left cheek and maybe a little bit on the nose because my nose does tend to get red if I get really cold or really hot. And obviously it is August right now and I'm in the pretty deep south. So, you know, it's pretty humid and hot. Just hitting this cheek as well. That's where most of my hyperpigmentation is from acne. Love that. But I don't hit the forehead or anything like that unless I actually have a breakout because as you can see, there's really not much going on the forehead, which is good. So this is all I'm doing with the foundation. As you can see, it covers very nicely. It's got a nice like satin finish to the skin, not too dewy, not too matte. It's like, that's my favorite finish is like the natural or satin finish. I don't like when it's too like slippery or when it's like way too matte to where it looks like I'm like a corpse. I think this is looking really nice. It's really just kind of evened out my skin tone and I love it. So now what I'm going to do is put the rest of my makeup on. I will mention real quick what I'm going to be using for powder. Typically I do use a loose powder like the Maybelline Fit Me, or I also use the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte powder. I think it's what it's called. And then that goes like on my smile lines. I don't do that as much in the winter because my face gets drier, but when it's really, really humid outside and really hot, I have to set like my smile lines and where I crease the most, which is over here. But this foundation doesn't crease nearly as much as some other ones. It does crease a little bit, but not in a way that is disgusting. Honestly, it just kind of melts into the skin, so it kind of like looks more like your skin than some other foundations do. And then to set my entire face, I take the L'Oreal Infallible Freshwear Powder Foundation. I have mentioned this several times, saying that I didn't like it as an actual powder foundation on its own, but I love it to set the rest of my makeup. This is the combination I wore to the Garth Brooks concert that got canceled. And it was really rainy. My face got wet and I got really sweaty, and honestly, it barely looked like anything had happened to this by the end of the day. So that is a true wear test. I wasn't even sure it was gonna last that, and then it did. I'll show you me applying it, but I will just put it in fast forward motion. I wanted to say real quick that I do use a dense, large brush to apply this. If you don't want that much powder and you want something more like sweepy, I use the e.l.f. powder brush. It's like their fancy line, and I just kind of dust it. But I typically use this in the summer and more that kind of brush in the winter. But it depends on how much powder you want, because obviously this disperses more, and the fluffier, less dense one disperses less. So I did want to pop in and say that. One thing that I do, especially during the summer, to really help my favorite foundation last is after I put everything on, I do go in with a setting spray that's like a lasting setting spray, not like a dewy one. And my favorite one in this wonky container is the Milani Make It Last. I love this one so much. I even had a mini version in the West Palm Beach Get Ready With Me video that I just uploaded. And this one is my favorite. So I just spray all over my face. And then I fan it, try not to make any facial expressions. And I find that this setting spray in particular really does help prolong my foundation wear and just my makeup wear in general. I am trying another one by Catrice. I think it's called like the HD Active Setting Spray that is said to do the same thing. So we'll see. It just comes in a way smaller bottle than this. This is the jumbo size, and it's lasted me for like almost 2 years now. So this is how everything is looking. As you can see, very smoothing, really nice coverage, just really pretty on the skin. I love the way this looks every time I get done doing my makeup. I'm always impressed by how this foundation looks before powder, after everything's on, and it just always looks so good. So I'm gonna go show you what this looks like in natural lighting, like I do with all of my other foundation wear test videos, and then we're gonna do a wear test every couple of hours. I finished my makeup. It is 9 o'clock in the morning right now. So I will see you guys at 11, 1, 3, and so on and so forth until we get to 9 p.m. tonight, because this is going to be at least a 12-hour wear test. Here we are outside in 1,000-degree weather. It is so hot and humid today, which is the perfect day to do a wear test. I think this looks absolutely beautiful in natural lighting, fluorescent lighting. Like, it just always looks so good. And it even has kind of a smoothing effect on the areas where I didn't put primer. So I definitely think this is looking really good. I've got some errands to run today, and of course that means that I'll be going out in the heat, so you will get to see every couple of hours how it is all wearing. But this is it for now, so I will see you guys in a couple of hours. Welcome to check-in number 1. Literally nothing has changed. I haven't left the house yet to run my errands. I've had to do some homework, so I haven't been outside yet. But the foundation looks exactly like it did when I finished it a couple of hours ago. So it is 11 o'clock now. I will check in with you guys at 1 again, and we'll see how it's looking then. I think I'm about to head out, so I am about to go out into the heat and humidity to really test this foundation out and show you how it's looking in the dead heat. It is blazing. It's literally 100 degrees out today. I don't even know what the percentage of humidity is, probably like 1,000. But this is what the makeup is looking like on hour 4. It's 1 o'clock right now, and it's looking really good. Honestly, yeah, like, this is why I love this foundation so much. I know it's only hour 4, but it is so hot outside. I've already sweat, and we don't have really any creasing or breaking down yet. I will show you how it wears the longer the day goes. Of course, we still have 8 hours left to go in this day, but so far, nothing has changed in the last 4 hours, and I have been out doing errands because Thomas and I are celebrating Bebe's birthday. Baylee, my boxer, her first birthday was a couple of days ago, but Thomas was out of town, so we are celebrating it today, and I have to get her a new collar, and so that is where I am. I'm at the pet store, but so far so good. I will see you guys at 3 o'clock. So it is 3 o'clock right now, which means this is check-in number 3, and the makeup once again looks stunning. Nothing has changed. We're 6 hours in, and the only thing that has changed is that my lip stuff has come off of my face. But my foundation is looking great, nice and fresh, and pretty much exactly how it did right after I put it on. So I will see you guys in a couple hours, but so far still, so good. It's 5 o'clock right now, so this is check-in number 4. I'll probably wait again until 9 to do my final check-in, or whenever my final check-in is, which will at least be 9. Because then there would be just like, if I kept doing a check-in every 2 hours, it would just be so many check-ins. But really everything looks the exact same. There's a little bit of creasing right here, and maybe some minor in this smile line, but nothing major. So it is looking really, really good for the 8-hour check-in. I love this foundation so much. But for now, that is it, and I will see you guys in about 4 hours. Who's in here? Do we have more peanut butter stuff? Oh my. I'll give you that later.
Yeah, preferably when Mac's outside and she's inside.
And then, what else do we have? You don't care. Oh. Oh.
I sure am excited for that.
I know. And then, which one do you want to play with first? The turtle? I figured that probably happened. Oh, my big birthday girl.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'll take the tag off for you. So this is the last check-in. It is exactly 12 hours from when I put this on, and it still looks great. There is a little bit rubbed off on my nose because Baylee's nose hit me and it was wet. So I wiped off some of it. But as you can see, it looks really good. A little bit worn off in my nostrils, but my nose runs constantly. I actually have like allergies all the time, no matter what time of year it is. And I take allergy medicine every single day. But it looks really good. I can make this last even longer, but I feel like taking it off now. And I think that this is a pretty solid wear test for 12 hours. So it is looking really good. Now you can kind of see what I base all of my foundation first impressions wear test videos off of. There is a little bit of dew, but not too much. It's not greasy or oily looking. So I really love this foundation, and here is a video proving as to why. So I hope you guys liked this video and this type of video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit the notification bell down below, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.